Okie dokie, friends. Page 47, chapter 4 is Rainforest Creatures. There's a cute little picture of a monkey and their baby. It says they creep and crawl, they flit and fly, they growl and howl. The world's rainforests are alive with millions of animals, bugs and birds, predators and protection. Most rainforest animals depend on other animals for food. Animals that kill and eat other animals are called predators. The animals that predators killed are called their prey. You guys knew that already. Page 48. Many rainforest creatures have special ways of protecting themselves from predators. Some have colors that help them blend with their natural surroundings. This kind of protection is called camouflage. Jack tells us that lizards, like this gecko, have skin that looks like rocks and dirt. Some creatures fool predators by looking like plants. If they stay very still, predators will leave them alone because they won't see them. Annie says insects like this katydid have wings that look just like leaves. And Jack says stick insects look just like twigs. That looks like a twig, but if you look even closer, you can see that it has legs. It is an insect, a stick insect. Page 50. Some creatures scare predators away by looking bigger and scarier than they really are. Many moths and butterflies have marks on their wings that look like big eyes. When these creatures open their wings, predators think the eyes belong to a creature that might eat them. Annie tells us marks like these are called eye spots. Night creatures. The rainforest is just as alive at night as it is during the day. Many creatures come out only after the sun has gone down. They are called nocturnal creatures. And Jack says that nocturnal means active at night. Annie says, yikes! Predators use camouflage too. This vine snake looks more like a vine than a snake until it attacks its prey. Yikes. Page 52, many nocturnal creatures have very large eyes. Their big eyes let in more light and help them see in the moonlit forest. There's some night monkeys. Look how big their eyes are, and they totally look like they're smiling at you. That's creepy. Bats are common nocturnal creatures. There are hundreds of different kinds of bats in the world's rainforests. Many bats have a strong sense of smell that helps them find fruits and flowers in the dark. Others use sound to find and capture insects and to find their way in the night. There's a vampire bat. At night, rainforest trees twinkle with fireflies and click beetles. There's some pictures of those. Scientists think insects like these talk to each other with their flashing lights. Water creatures. Rivers run through most of the rainforests of the world. Thousands of different kinds of fish live in these rivers. Snakes, crocodiles, and lizards slither and sleep on the banks. Anacondas attack animals that have come to the river for a drink of water. Some rainforest crocodiles are over 20 feet long. And yikes, flesh, skin, eating piranha have scary razor-sharp teeth, but they mostly eat berries, fruit, seeds, and other fish. Our favorite rainforest animals, page 56. Oh, army ants. We haven't read about them yet, but we're going to read about them this week, actually. Army ants. Army ants have painful stingers. They raid the rainforest floor in large swarms, searching for food. A swarm of marching army ants travels about a foot every minute. Sometimes there are more than 1 million ants in the swarm. Army ants catch and kill spiders and insects. Sometimes they also kill small animals that can't get out of their way. Army ants don't eat people, but you still wouldn't want to be in their path. A sting from an army ant really hurts. Army ants live in rainforests in South America. Oh, that's a sick picture, friends. on page 58. That's sick. The bird-eating tarantula, or the Goliath spider, is one of the biggest spiders in the world. A bird-eating tarantula can be 11 inches from the tip of one leg to another. That's bigger than a baseball glove. Bird-eating tarantulas have sharp, curved fangs. Their fangs can be over an inch long. Blech. Annie says bird-eating tarantulas don't eat birds very often. They are much more likely to eat frogs, snakes, mice, and lizards. That picture is so messed up. Bird-eating tarantulas live in the rainforests of South America. Turning the page away from that guy. Page 60, Queen Alexandra's birdwing butterfly. The Queen Alexandra's birdwing is the biggest butterfly in the world. This butterfly has a wingspan a foot wide. The Queen Alexandra's birdwing is beautiful but dangerous. It is poisonous to eat. Creatures who eat it get very sick but do not usually die. The Queen Alexandra's birdwing is very rare. It lives only in a small area of rainforest in New Guinea. This dude. Page 63, the Goliath Beetle. Imagine an insect as big as a mouse with long horns and 6 sharp claws. That's the Goliath Beetle of the African rainforest. The Goliath Beetle is the heaviest insect in the world. It can weigh as much as a small hamster. It can be 4 inches long. Goliath beetles have 2 sharp hooks on each of their 6 legs. They use these hooks to clamp onto the sides of a tree. Once a Goliath beetle has attached itself to something, it's almost impossible to pull it off. They sink their hooks into it. The Goliath beetle lives in the rainforests of Africa. Oh my God, these are my favorite. They are so cute. Red-eyed tree frogs eat mostly flies and other insects, but sometimes they eat other frogs. Don't be judgmental. Red-eyed tree frogs usually hunt at night. Their huge eyes help them see. I don't know, I lost my place. Their huge eyes help them see better in the dark. They have sticky fingers and toes that help them hold on to slippery tree trunks, branches, and leaves. Red-eyed tree frogs lay their eggs in plants that hang over streams. When they hatch, the tadpoles plop right into the water. Red-eyed tree frogs live in the rainforests of Central and South America. Oh my God, I love these two. Poison arrow frogs. Sometimes they're called poison dart frogs. And they have like super cool bright colors. They're like neon yellow and neon green and neon blue. And I know that there's red. There might be orange too. They actually have poison arrow frogs at the Syracuse Zoo if you've ever been there. Oh my God, they're so cool. Poison arrow frogs are tiny but deadly. Most poison arrow frogs are only an inch long. They're like super small. But they have a poison in their skin that is strong enough to kill anything that eats them. One poison arrow frog has enough poison to kill over 100 people. The bright colors of poison arrow frogs warn other animals that they are dangerous to eat. They got their name because for hundreds of years, hunters in the rainforest have used their poison on arrows and darts. Poison arrow frogs live in the rainforests of Central and South America. I love those things. Oh, man. I told you guys, I love this book. These animals are so awesome. Sloths are some of the slowest moving creatures in the world. It could take a sloth over an hour to cross an average-sized living room. They are so pokey. Sloths have long, curved claws. Their claws look pretty scary, but sloths never attack other animals. They only eat leaves. Sloths use their claws, look at that picture, as hooks to hang on to tree branches. In fact, sloths live most of their lives hanging upside down. Sloths live in the rainforests of Central and South America. Dudes always look like they're smiling too. They always look like they're smiling. Maybe they are, I don't know. They're lazy. They don't have to do much. Toucan. There are about 40 different kinds of toucans in the rainforests of Central and South America. Toucans have huge, colorful bills. They use their giant bills like scissors to snip berries and fruits from the branches of trees and bushes. A toucan's bill isn't as heavy as it looks. It's a thin, hollow shell over a bony skeleton. When toucans go to sleep, they turn their heads to the side and lay their bills on their backs. Then they fold their tails over their bills to cover them up. So there's two different kinds, the Togo toucan and the plate-billed mountain toucan. Toucans live in the rainforests of Central and South America. Here you go. I know you guys love this guy. Jaguars. Jaguars are beautiful big cats. They're so heavy. I was going to say fat. They're not fat. They're just heavy. Male jaguars can be 6 feet long and weigh 250 to 300 pounds. That's as big as a professional football player. Jaguars are good climbers. They often hide in rainforest trees, waiting to pounce on deer, wild pigs, or other animals that roam the forest floor. Unlike most cats, jaguars are also good swimmers. Yeah, my cats don't like water. They would not like to be put into a pond. They swim in rainforest rivers to catch fish, turtles, and even crocodiles. Sadly, there are few jaguars left in rainforests. Many have been killed off by hunters for their beautiful fur. That's so sad. Jaguars live in the rainforests of Central and South America. Dude, look at this guy. Okay. Pangolins. Pangolins are some of the weirdest looking animals in the rainforest. They have long, skinny heads. They have stubby legs with huge, sharp claws. They have no teeth. And strangest of all, their bodies are covered with big, thick scales. When a pangolin is scared, it rolls into a tight ball. Oh, kind of like an armadillo, right? Its scales protect it from any animal that tries to attack it. Pangolins are sometimes called scaly anteaters. That's because ants are their favorite food. They usually go hunting for ants at night. Pangolins live in the rainforests of Africa, so it totally has the head of an anteater, right? With that long snout that they would stick into an ant hole. And then their scales, that's kind of cool. That's a really big tail. And yeah, not that, an armadillo stays on the ground and curls up like that, but that's pretty awesome. Pangolin. Yikes. All right. Chapter 5. People of the rainforest. Thousands of people live in rainforests around the world. For centuries, they've gotten everything they've needed from the plants and animals of the forest. Hunter-gatherers. People of the rainforest usually live in small groups. Many get their food by hunting wild animals and gathering wild plants to eat. People who live this way are called hunter-gatherers. The Mabuti people are hunter-gatherers. They live deep in the Ituri rainforest of the Congo region of Africa. The Mabuti hunt with spears and with bows and arrows. They also trap animals in large nets made from vines. They hunt antelopes, forest hogs, buffalo, elephants, monkeys, and other animals. They use the animal meat for food. They make tools and clothes from other parts of the animals. Almost nothing is wasted. In the past, the Mabudi killed only what they needed for themselves and their families. Today, they also trade with villagers who live on the edge of the forest. While Mabudi men hunt, women and children gather roots, nuts, fruits, snails, termites, and ants for food. Ooh, they eat ants. Sometimes they catch fish or crabs. The Mabudi move every few weeks to a new place in the forest looking for wild animals and plants. The women and children set up the new camp. They build huts from branches and large leaves. They can build a whole village of huts in just a few hours. Annie tells us that Mabudi huts are shaped like beehives. There's only enough room for a few people to sleep inside, so that's so interesting. So they gather all the stuff they can from one place, and then when they've taken everything that they can, they move to a new place. So every few weeks, they leave their campsites and move on to someplace else so that they don't ever run out of food. That makes sense. Page 80, the Mabudi make beautiful paintings on cloth made from bark. Men collect the bark from trees. They soften it with water and pound it with a hammer. The women then paint designs on the bark. Sometimes they paint pictures of forest creatures. Music is also an important part of Mabudi life. The Mabudi play rattles and drums. They sing when they hunt, gather honey, set up a new home, or play games. The Mabudi use art and music as a way to honor the guardian spirit of the forest. The Mabudi believe the forest spirit is like a parent who watches over them and protects them. For this reason, they call themselves children of the forest. Every day, they thank the forest for all the gifts it gives them. Hunter-gardeners. Some rainforest people get their food by raising crops as well as by hunting and gathering from the forest. People who live this way are sometimes called hunter-gardeners. Hunter-gardeners clear land for their crops by cutting down trees and burning them. Then they plant seeds in the ashes of the burned trees. The ashes make the soil better for growing plants. Hunter-gardeners usually grow their crops in the same place for only a few years. Then they move their field to another place so that the rainforest trees and plants have a chance to grow back. It might be 20 years before they plant in the same place again. That is so cool. So they really, really take care of the rainforest. They're not just using up all the resources so that there's nothing left. They use what they can, and then they move and gather and live someplace else so that the part of the rainforest that they used, the plants that they used, have a chance to grow back. So the rainforest is constantly replenishing itself. That is really awesome. Oh, this is hard. Let's see. The Yanomami people are hunter-gardeners. They tend small gardens in the Amazon rainforest. They grow bananas, yams, and sweet potatoes. They also grow plantains, which are like large, tough bananas. They roast the plantains on coals or boil them in pots. Besides growing their crops, the Yanomami gather nuts, mushrooms, and honey. They also hunt birds and catch frogs and insects to eat. Yanomami boys learn to hunt at a very young age. For shelter, the Yanomami build large huts made from tree branches and palm leaves. They build their huts in a large circle. In the evening, families come together inside the circle and tell stories. The Yanomami especially like to tell stories about jaguars, the most feared animals in the forest. For many centuries, the Yanomami lived as their ancestors had lived. They had very little contact with people from the outside world. But recently, all that changed. In the 1980s, gold was discovered along the border between Brazil and Venezuela. This is the area where the Yanomami have lived for centuries. Thousands of people from outside the forest invaded Yanomami lands to mine the gold. The gold miners have upset Yanomami life by cutting down trees and building roads. Rough. Their noisy planes and equipment have scared away animals. The miners have also introduced new diseases to the Yanomami, such as malaria, flu, and measles. Governments of South American countries are now trying to protect the Yanomami people and their land. Like the Mabudi, the Yanomami have lived for many years in peace with the rainforests. They believe that nature creates everything and that people should love and respect the forest. Rainforest people like the Yanomami and the Mabudi have many things to teach those who live outside the rainforest. They can share their knowledge about which plants are good to eat, which are poisonous, and which are good for medicine. Most important, the peoples of the rainforest can teach others how to take what is needed from the forest without destroying it. That's important. Growing up in the rainforest. Rainforest children learn a lot growing up in the forest. Here are some of their lessons. Number 1, what to eat. Some rainforest plants and animals are poisonous. Rainforest children learn what's good to eat and what's dangerous. Number 2, how to hunt, gather, and cook. Girls learn to find good plants to eat and how to cook them. Boys learn to hunt animals with spears, bows and arrows, and nets. And number 3, how to have fun. Most rainforest people tell stories together at the end of the day. They sometimes dance and sing. Rainforest children learn the dances and songs and stories from their parents and other relatives. So we're going to pause because I know that I usually read chapter 6 too, but we've already been reading for over 20 minutes. So I'm going to pause and then we're going to end with the rest of the chapters next.